as you get to use products, and you guys have TSL and people have different things all over the country, but as you begin to learn more and more products, inject more, you get to trust them. And if you trust them, you kind of keep them in your arsenal, you keep them in your portfolio, and you kind of add little things. And I always say when you first start learning something, be it lasers or fillers, it's kind of like having a baby. And you're kind of learning how it behaves. What does it do? How does it react in this circumstance? And once you kind of trust it, you get to know it, and you get to love it or not love it.
You are a trainer for a number of companies. I know you train for Mint Threads. I know you're a trainer for Galderma. Do you train for Allergan as well?
No.
Okay. Any other companies in there?
I train for, I'm a speaker for several. I speak at conferences for like Alastin Skincare and Vivace radiofrequency medical devices, things like that. But the main pharmaceutical companies is Galderma with the products that Galderma provides, and then the threads Mint. I train a lot of Mint on him, a lot of Mint threads.
Okay, and how did that come about? Like, we have lots of people on who have trained, but we've never really delved into how you became a trainer or why you became a trainer. So tell us about that.
That's such a good question. I had been injecting for a few years, and my Galderma rep years ago heard me talk and listened to me explain things to patients and saw me inject. And she said, "You know what, Lori, would you ever consider being a trainer for Galderma?" And I said, absolutely. I love the products. I love the safety component of the products. I love the company. It's a very education-based company and a safety-based company. I said, I would love to train for Galderma. So she put me into the queue of people who would be, recommended. And I ended up becoming a trainer for Galderma. And that was back in maybe 2012. So I've been training for them for a long, long time. And they're products that I truly believe in, that I've never had a problem with them, as far as, sometimes you hear about inflammatory nodules and things like that. And I've never had a problem with them. So, as you get to use products, and you guys have TSL and people have different things all over the country, but as you begin to learn more and more products, inject more, you get to trust them. And if you trust them, you kind of keep them in your arsenal, you keep them in your portfolio, and you kind of add little things. And I always say when you first start learning something, be it lasers or fillers, it's kind of like having a baby. And you're kind of learning how it behaves. What does it do? How does it react in this circumstance? And once you kind of trust it, you get to know it, and you get to love it or not love it. So I think I always kind of equate it to having a kid. You're like, you don't know who this thing is. It's just screaming. And then you get to know it. You get to trust it. And you get to see how it reacts in certain circumstances. And that's very much how lasers and fillers are. So I started training for Galderma, and then I trained also a few years back for Allergan. And then they had changed in the product line and kind of added some products that there were a few side effects I didn't really want to deal with. So I stepped away from that. But it's been fun through the years.
Yeah. And how do you actually start becoming a trainer? Obviously, you've got your own set of skills, and the company will approach you and say, "Hey, we'd love to have you on board and train new injectors or people that are looking to further their education." But how do you train to become a trainer? Like, what additional education do you need to arm yourself with? And even just mentally preparing for, educating people. And I'm assuming that, nurses and doctors get into this industry to help people. So you already got the right mindset, but like transitioning to teaching someone how to hold the needle, how do you reconcile that?
Well, I take a Valium first. Sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes it's tough. So I tell my staff, I swear, I'm never going to teach cannulas unless you give me a Valium or something, because I get so frustrated. And I don't know if I have enough patience, because people can be so rough, but I just have to literally grab their hands and go, "Stop stuffing it in there. You need to be gentle." So sometimes it's hard. The majority of people that I train, though, are nurses, doctors, PAs that want to learn. They're anxious to learn. They listen, and they really, really try their best. There are certain providers who really want to do this, but they just don't have it. And Jake, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say this, like they just don't have that artistic eye and they just kind of don't have that hand-eye coordination. You're like, oh gosh, you're never going to get this. You wish they would, but it's just not going to kind of connect.
Yeah.
And there's others that can be like yesterday in our school, I had a nurse who's never injected before. I gave her a syringe of filler and helped her along, and she got it. She had good dexterity, good eye-hand coordination. She could feel it. She was thoughtful in how she was injecting and where the needle was going and what tissue plane she was in. I go, you are going to get it. You just need time on tissue and you will be great. So I know, Jake, you do a lot of classes too. And so you can kind of see those individuals who you think are really going to kind of flourish if they take it upon themselves and invest in themselves to educate themselves. It's not going to be given to them on a silver platter. And I see that all the time. Practitioners will just sit back and wait for it to be given to them. And I tell you, I've gone back to train nurses who I trained 8 years ago. And I thought, wow, they're going to be so good now. This is amazing. I go back and they're just as dangerous as they are today as they were before, because they haven't gone to one stinking class.
Yeah.
So I always tell patients, just because someone's been doing this 10 years doesn't mean they're not dangerous nor they know what they're doing. It doesn't. A practitioner has got to invest in themselves and continually educate, continually read articles, continually go to conferences. You've got to seek out education and keep your critical thinking going. Because like I was questioning an article on master injection that was put out by an Asian physician and with Sebastian Cotofana. And I said, you know what? I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. So I don't think a deep way to inject masseters is the way to go. And we went and dissected masseters. And I said, look, there's a tendon in the middle of this. There's a tendon, a sheath in the middle of the two layers of the masseters. And I said that deep masseter cannot protrude through that tendon and give you a horn.
Yeah.
So people are injecting too deep and if you inject all deep, that's where you get the horn. So Professor Cotofana is going to do he's actually doing a research paper on that now. But my point of bringing this up is, don't always take everything as the Bible. Sometimes you use your critical thinking and get your thinking cap on and go, hey, why? What's going on? And really think out of the box. And that's what's really going to keep this specialty growing.
Yeah. So I know you've got a question there. Just to add to that, I totally agree. The problem with aesthetics and medicine to some extent is there's a lot of dogma. And, like you said, Sebastian Cotofana's work is fantastic, but sometimes you read a paper and including some of his, and they've got 14 subjects in the study. And you go, okay, well, that's very interesting, but is that really applicable across the United States or into Asia or across the world? A lot of injectors just hang on to, a journal's papers, every word. And then, like you said, you read a paper and said, well, that's just crap. It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
So always having that critical thinking is so, so important. And not only that, but try things out, look at the evidence yourself, do it. And if you
should we bring up that consensus paper on don't aspirate, or should we not bring that up?
Oh, we're going to get to that. That's one of my favorite questions.
That's one of our last questions.
Yeah.
So we'll do it.
Yeah.
You know me, like, oh, no.
Thanks so much for watching the podcast clip. You can listen to the whole audio episode of the podcast on your favorite podcast app, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And please also leave us a review on the podcast app.
If you like what we do, please smash the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you get notified when we release new content.